Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a deeply personal and absolutely fascinating 16-day travel diary. And it begins not in some ancient exotic temple, but right at the Hong Kong airport. We're following a university professor from Taiwan who is standing at a major crossroads in life, packing a brand new backpack. That backpack? It's a very intentional choice. It's a symbol of streamlining life, moving fast, and carrying only what is absolutely necessary for a profound transition. So let's dive into this incredibly candid journey.
So what happens when you travel thousands of miles to find yourself, only to realize the answer was waiting at home the whole time? This profound question really anchors our entire exploration today. We're tracking the path of someone who is desperately seeking an external sanctuary to fix an internal crisis during a massive midlife shift. But as we're going to see, when you run thousands of miles away to confront your demons, you often end up running straight into some very unexpected realities.
Part 1. Seeking Change in India.
Part 2. The Intense Inner Journey. Now, leaving behind a cozy, structured academic life for the OSHO Resort in Pune, well, it turns out finding inner peace is definitely not a relaxing beach vacation. The daily routine was grueling. It utilized fixed, highly repetitive physical practices designed to literally force the noisy mind into a state of quiet focus. Every single morning began with high-energy, dynamic meditation, followed up by Kundalini meditation in the afternoon, and then wrapped up with the White Robe Brotherhood gathering at night. Doing this day in and day out is meant to just completely exhaust your superficial mind so that your deeper self can finally emerge.
And this intensity got very physical. During a session of deep physical massage, the therapist pressed into the author's stomach, and the pain was so intense they nearly screamed. But, it wasn't just physical pain. It was the sudden release of deeply suppressed traumatic memories. The author had this profound realization that they had literally been swallowing their stress and their food for years without chewing, just burying all that intense pressure right there in their gut.
The intense methods didn't stop at physical massage either. Imagine this, sitting in absolute pitch-black darkness, and your only instruction is to just scream. It's called darkness meditation. It's an exercise designed to forcefully expel all that accumulated mental baggage right out into the void. The author noted how this powerful, totally uninhibited screaming produced this incredible stress-relieving effect, leaving them with a feeling of absolute boundlessness.
But the trials weren't just orchestrated in the meditation halls. Sometimes the universe provides its own brutal lessons. Right in the middle of the trip, the author loses their wallet. And it wasn't just a few bucks. It contained $1,000, important books, and flash drives, just gone. It was a massive financial and personal hit. Yet, looking at it through the lens of this spiritual journey, it became a harsh but incredibly necessary crash course in letting go of material attachments. You literally cannot carry your old baggage with you.
Part 3. The Resort versus Reality.
So, while there was all this internal chaos happening in the author's mind, stepping back, the physical environment itself was a study in extremes. Inside the gates, the OSHO Resort operated like a highly managed, color-coded corporate bubble. Visitors didn't even have to do their own laundry. It felt artificial, like a fabricated society built specifically for wealthy international tourists looking for an escape. But step outside those gates, India was raw and completely unruly. It was monsoon season. The author's robes were constantly stained with mud from the chaotic weather, and the extreme poverty was just inescapable. The contrast between the two worlds was deeply unsettling to them. While navigating this environment, the diary also takes a really neutral, fascinating look at the history of the resort's founders. The author marvels at Osho's massive library of English books and his profound reading habits, but in the exact same breath, notes the jarring reality of his 93 Rolls-Royces and extravagant lifestyle. They also reflect on his former secretary, Sheila, acknowledging her incredible capability and absolute devotion, alongside the utter chaos that eventually ensued. It's a striking look at the deeply complex, unpredictable nature of spiritual leaders, holding both immense wisdom and glaring human flaws at the exact same time.
Part 4. Encounters and Old Memories.
Stripped of all normal, everyday distractions, the journey suddenly shifted inward to the distant shores of the author's own past. The retreat triggered this vivid, chronological map of memories. It starts with the pure, sweet joy of being a 5-year-old, holding a white rabbit and playing with an uncle's dog. But then it plunges into trauma, the deep childhood shame of having a bathroom accident in the 4th grade, and then the heavy adult burden of dealing with a strict household and a father who had lost the ability to walk. The retreat essentially forced all of this right to the surface.
But reconnecting with that innocent 5-year-old self sparked a major breakthrough. The author writes this incredibly moving realization. I have grown up. The world has changed. The time for sadness is over. It is a conscious, definitive choice to finally embrace their inner child and close the heavy chapter of old familial grief once and for all.
Part 5. Returning to real life. And here is where it all comes together. The crucial point of this entire 16-day journey doesn't actually happen while meditating in an Indian ashram. The climax is beautifully ironic. The author realizes they didn't need to fly across the world to find peace. They note that the energy right in their own home is no worse than the resort. Just taking a walk around their own neighborhood back in Taiwan held just as much meditative grounding as a costly distant retreat. And hey, without all the muddy robes and chaotic travel.
I absolutely love this part. This deeply esoteric spiritual journey ultimately transforms into the most grounded, practical to-do list. True enlightenment for this professor doesn't look like floating on a cloud. It looks like going back to teach university classes with renewed energy. It looks like dyeing their hair, buying some nice clothes, and, my personal favorite, picking up a nice bedside lamp to make their bedroom more relaxing for sleep. It's literally just about achieving a genuine balance between work and leisure right where they already live.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder from the diary. Truly connecting with the land, living real life, this is what is real. After traveling thousands of miles, spending vast amounts of money, screaming in the dark, and revisiting childhood trauma, the ultimate takeaway is stunningly simple. Maybe the ultimate spiritual transformation isn't about finding a way to escape your everyday life, but finally learning how to fully, authentically live it. What would happen if you applied that to your own routine today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.